So when we're born, we think we are a clear vessel, just like this cup. We're a clear vessel, right? We have all the possibilities ahead of us, or at least that's what society or our parents tell us. But in reality, are you? No, you're not. It's a total lie. Over 90% of your genetic makeup is based on your parents. Okay? That other 10% is based on, say, your free self, on what you can create from what you inherited off your 90%. And that 90% includes health patterns, wealth patterns, who you're going to marry or the type of person you're going to marry, addiction patterns, the body shape that you have, all those aspects and more, right down to, say, the curliness of your hair, your skin pigmentation, all those things you've inherited. So in short, you are a cumulative total, or the latest version when you were born, of all the things in your family lineage, in your family line, all into your DNA or genetic makeup. Okay? And then you add your portion of it, okay, based on, again, the latest version. So right off the bat, we have, again, tainted. We've been tainted. And we'll just use this orange cup. We've been tainted with all these things. And we think that we are this now. We are this identity, okay, this orange cup. And then we grow. We go from 0 to 6. We don't believe, and that's why we ask a lot of questions like, why is this? Why is this? Because you know deep inside that you are a clear vessel. But then society, the way your familial environment is, well, you're tainted. And then by the time you're about, say, 12, you go, well, shit, this is the way it is. I guess I am this. So you start to believe that you are this. Right? In your late teens, you start to identify yourself, or in your early or late teens, you start to identify yourself as a man or a woman or a girl or a boy, and you take on that identity. Right? And whose identity is it? Is it a version of, say, the purest version of who you are, or is it based on your mom, your dad, society's identities of a man or woman? So that gets tainted on you. Okay? So that's another version, or that's another cloak that's based or that's wrapped around you, or another mask, if you will. Okay? We grow up. This starts to solidify. We become one. And notice that the color is very different than even your original self that was tainted, right? It's very different now. So we start to get a job, or we go to school and we identify, we have a personality identity, right? Right after college or high school, we have another identity that gets tainted. And it dictates on, say, the type of job or the self-worth that we have. Now we're a career woman or a career man, right? And then, well, we have to identify with what type of career. Well, you're a career woman now. So especially being a woman, right? It's a man's world. So you have to accommodate, to be successful in a man's world, you have to transform yourself now into something else. So imagine that, right? So right off the bat, by the time you're about 20 years old, you have all these identities or all these layers, and there's probably many more that I didn't discuss here, but again, there's many more. With each single experience that you have, you put layer upon layer upon layer within your identity. Again, not the truest identity. So what do? We try to escape, okay? And this is where it gets even more hectic for people. Well, we want to have a successful career. So that successful career is not within our boundary, right? We have to move over to this. So we have to create another identity over here, right? And this is where you've heard, again, a lot of successful coaches tell you have to have a morning routine, you have to psych yourself up, in all those similar motivation techniques, you could call it, right? You're this, but you want to be this. So it's another identity that you've created, okay? You're a man or a woman. Okay? You've created yourself as a career person over here. It gets even worse though. Let me continue on. It gets way worse like that. You're a man or a woman, you have a job, okay? Then you find a mate, okay? You find a mate. Now you're a wife or a husband, okay? So you have a wife and husband scenario. What does that look like? How do we realize, or how do we know we're a wife and husband? Again, according to what we were born, according to society's patterns, we create another identity here. Create another identity here. That's us. But the real self is here, and this isn't our real self. The real self is long gone. We have no idea, and we always long for that. So we're a parent. We're a husband-wife now. Again, those roles are dictated by family lineage and then society's human consciousness. We have a kid. That's the next generation. That's the next, say, pattern that most of us run, right? We have a kid. We're now a mom or dad. So that role of being a mom and dad, that's out here as well. This is you, okay? So you have to separate yourself. And then it gets even worse, by the way, and you are a successful CEO. Well, that's an extension of this, right? Because this is just a career. This is a successful CEO. So you want to be a successful CEO. That's another hat, or that's another facade that you wear. Okay, and there's many, many more. You have all these identities. Okay, you have all these identities, and probably much more. When you're with somebody, you create another identity to be with that person. When you go home, right, to your parents, you're that identity. Right, when you're with your spouse, you're another identity. So you have all these identities that are outside of you. Okay, and then what you do is like, shit, I got to get my stuff together. I got to get myself together. I'm exploding. So what do? Well, we try psychology. And psychology goes, well, okay, psychology, self-improvement, prayer, surgeries, exercise, medication, pretty much anything that you do to improve yourself, okay, is basically the same theme, just different versions. Okay, physical, emotional, psychology, again, medications, all those. Again, it's the same. It's the same pattern or the same method of, say, justifying or trying to heal you. And what psychology does, or self-improvement does, no matter how you look at it, okay, is that it says, well, we have all these identities of who we are. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to create another identity that's even, say, better, okay? We're not happy being a CEO. We're not happy being a parent, right? We're not happy being a spouse. So what do? Well, what do is, well, we create, say, patterns to cover that up, So we're a CEO, and we just put, say, another pattern on top, right? So now, CEO, we should force ourselves to be happy being that CEO by trying different methods, by trying different, say, psychological techniques, by trying mantras, by trying, to psych ourselves up. We try to, sometimes we use, again, unfortunately, alcohol or other psychedelics to, say, transform ourselves as far as being a parent, or again, these cups, and just add more and more cups to them, and you have all these identities, right? And then what we try to do, which gets even worse for us, is like, none of this stuff works. So we try a whole different identity completely. We try, like, for example, wealth, right? We cover that up thickly with a thicker layer. But our identities are all disparate here, and our real identity, if we can call this a real identity, is somewhere here. And this is why our life seems to be explode or separate. And just another example, before we go on with all these, is that with wealth specifically, okay? And this is what most people do with wealth, okay? We think that we're this, okay? But in reality, deep inside, we've shrunk down to an identity that's this. We don't deserve wealth. So what do? We've been pushed around. We've been bullied. We are, say, that geek, or called that geek, right? Back in the day, right? We're very small. And then what do? Well, I'm going to show the world. I'm going to show everybody. And again, it's a great motivator to create massive wealth, it doesn't work out well. So we're a sheep inside, right? We're very scared. We're a young child that's been hurt. But what do? We create massive amounts of success. Again, a CEO level, or an owner, or somebody that comes in with a great technology. Again, this identity is still that sheep, that scared child. We create this identity and we plop it on top. So that inner child, no matter how much success you have, it destroys many CEOs, many high-level individuals. I see it all the time. I work with them. Put all these layers in one on top of each other. Okay? It starts to blend who you are. So that's the first half. It starts to blend who you are. So you're not all over the place. You don't have to have, say, multiple identities, multiple personalities. You're not tearing yourself apart to, say, live a life, right? You have to juggle being a mom. You have to juggle being a career woman. Now you have to come home, and please your spouse, right? All those things, again, it's not fulfilling. And it's not what you're doing. It's how and why you're doing it.